1.5 million pounds is what was allegedly spent on Meghan Markle and Prince Harry's security in Colombia. This article is telling us that officials in Colombia and those within the security department are fuming with the Colombian vice president for spending such a big amount of money on Meghan Markle and Prince Harry's trip, a trip that had no economic importance to the country. Looking at that money in terms of daily expenditures, again, we can see here that they have stated around £375,000 spent on Meghan Markle and Prince Harry per day visiting Colombia. That's a huge sum of money. And we can see here again that that money should have gone towards facilitating schools, buying school meals for those kids in schools, facilitating good education facilities, equipping hospitals with better health care equipment and medication, paying teachers, nurses, and doctors in Colombia, fighting corruption, which is eating up Colombia, rather than being spent on Meghan Markle and Prince Harry's visit. This is ridiculous. And the other thing we have learned from this article again is that nobody was allowed to report on Meghan Markle's visit in Colombia, especially talking about the security aspects of the trip. That it was only Meghan Markle and Prince Harry's press that were allowed to report on this trip. And of course, we know what they reported about. They just showed us Meghan Markle, Prince Harry walking around schools, attending this gala, this cultural event. They didn't say anything about how much that trip costed in terms of security. And I know that they refused other press from reporting on this trip because they would highlight this huge sum of money and what it was going to cost Colombia to have Meghan Markle and Prince Harry in that country for those 4 days. This is very, very interesting. Again, Meghan Markle, Prince Harry milking poor economies out there just because of their own self-interests. They knew that this was a country that was struggling economically, but still went ahead to visit the country, well knowing that it would require a huge sum of money to cover their transport and their security while doing those movements within Colombia, a country which is very, very risky according to these sources here. And a country that requires one, especially these high-profile people, to have that high magnitude in terms of security. If Meghan and Harry had funded that security, that would be absolutely fine. But we have now learned here that all the money spent on their movements and security was coming straight from the Colombian government. And what is even more appalling and painful to these officials here is the fact that the reason for inviting Meghan Markle and Prince Harry into the country was very personal. It wasn't of any national interest. Here was Francis Marquez, the Colombian vice president, inviting Meghan Markle and Prince Harry to the country because she saw their Netflix series. Not because they have a foundation in Archwell that maybe was coming to Colombia to find ways of how it was going to partner with the schools, hospitals, healthcare centers for the better of everybody, but because she saw Meghan Markle and Prince Harry on Netflix. How sad. How very, very sad. Meghan Markle, Prince Harry failing to realize that these countries, Colombia, most of these South American countries are on their knees, and a trip like that was going to put those countries, Colombia, in such difficult situations. And they still went ahead with their trip for their own self-interest. And you wonder why Meghan and Prince Harry are constantly being called out.